After much anticipation, OnePlus unveiled their brand new OnePlus 7T on September 26th. It's quite an interesting device considering that it falls in a rather unique position in their lineup. Today we're taking a look at OnePlus's brand new 7T and comparing it to their handset from earlier this year, the 7 Pro. As a bit of a side note, the 7T Pro was just released, but it's not available in the US, so we won't be covering it in this video. Right at the get-go, there's one big difference: price. Coming in at $599, the OnePlus 7T comes in at $100 less than the OnePlus 7 Pro. That might already determine which one you can buy. Budget is certainly a big factor in choosing a phone. When taking a look at the specs, it's quite peculiar. In some ways, 7T is better than the 7 Pro. But it's not completely better, however. The main processor in the phone is the 855 Plus, whereas the 7 Pro only has the 855. That said, in actual day-to-day performance, there's not much of a noticeable difference. Both have the Adreno 640. The 7T comes with a standard 6GB, 128GB RAM storage configuration, whereas the 7 Pro can be configured with 6, 8, or 12GB of RAM, and 128 or 256GB of storage. For most people, however, I think the 7T's config is perfectly reasonable. Now, with the displays, we have a bit of a shift in favor of the 7 Pro. With a 1440p display, it certainly wins in resolution. That said, the 1080p screen on the 7T doesn't feel shabby in any way. Both are 90Hz panels, so you get that oh-so-smooth interaction with the Android operating system. Personally, I'm a big fan of the flat screen on the 7T, as I often have issues with accidental input at the edges of the 7 Pro's curved display. With performance, honestly, both of these phones feel the same. I enjoy tweaking the animation speed on Android to about 2 times the speed, and combined with the 90Hz refresh rate, these phones bleed speed. They can handle literally anything you throw at them. The cameras on both are quite good. As usual, they don't match Samsung, Pixel, or iPhone levels when it comes to overall robustness or quality, but if you're not pixel peeping, pun not intended, and comparing them to those other phones, these phones are very good on their own. We've got a bit of an interesting situation with the 7T only having a 2x telephoto lens instead of the 3x on the 7 Pro, but to balance it out, the 7T has a macro mode, or rather a shorter minimum focus distance on its camera for those close-up shots. Night photography is honestly pretty mediocre on both, however. But here are some samples from all the cameras. Video quality is excellent for both, but the 7T has some wildly impressive stabilization with their super stabilization mode, and it certainly takes a price. With battery life, both are quite similar, certainly only 1-day batteries. Back with the 6T, it was quite possible and even easy to hit crazy screen on time hours, but the high refresh rate certainly drains the cells on these phones. However, with the insane warp charge technology, I can forgive the not exactly outstanding battery life. These phones charge so refreshingly quickly. The 7T comes with Warp Charge 30T, which gets the phone to 70% in about 30 minutes, which is bonkers. However, the older Warp Charge 30 isn't bad in the least. Authentication with the fingerprint scanner is supposedly the same, but it seems to be ever so slightly faster on the older 7 Pro. However, I found it still to be not too reliable from personal experience, so take that for whatever it's worth. Face Unlock is blazingly fast, so I've just been using that. It's faster on the 7T, given that you don't have to wait for the selfie cam to deploy, like on the 7 Pro. The operating system is pretty much the same. Both are rocking Oxygen OS 10, aka Android 10. Not much to say there other than the typical. Oxygen OS is awesome, and every phone should adopt OnePlus's approach of speed and customizability. What makes the 7T interesting is that it isn't a direct upgrade to the 7 Pro like the 6T was to the 6. It's more of an update to the 6T, living alongside the 7 Pro. As it was made clear only a few weeks ago, OnePlus now has a 7T Pro to replace the 7 Pro, although not currently available in the US. Overall, the OnePlus 7T is a surprisingly good package for the price. It's definitely worth it if you're in the market for a new Android smartphone. That said, if you already got the 7 Pro, I don't really see any major compelling reason for you to upgrade. The 7 Pro is fabulous. Of course, the choice is, as always, up to you. Well, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed this video, definitely give it a thumbs up, as that helps a lot. If you'd like to see more videos like this, feel free to subscribe to the Android Police channel. If you'd like to subscribe to my personal channel as well, feel free to click on my face here. My name is Jackson Hayes, and this is Android Police.